Welcome back to another episode of Coaching Up. We're gonna look into men's health yet again. Captain America's Frank Grillo jacked at 55 workout. Train like a celebrity. Train like a celebrity. You know what I mean? It's, you know, we all know that the information that's gonna come out is gonna be completely 100% accurate as to what Frank Grillo is doing in his life to stay in the shape he's in, being 55 years old and looking like the man. All jokes aside, this video here is directed for everybody, but mainly for those who are coming up in age. So we're gonna go into this and we're gonna watch basically what Frank Grillo does to maintain his shape. Now, take this with a grain of salt. We all know things are edited. You know, these stories are taken, there's a ton of film, and then chop it down to this. So I'm gonna give you guys an idea of what's actually, you know, factual in here. Let's watch along, see how we go, show you guys what you can actually do, what is actually not possible, how we can actually optimize his training. This is gonna be a really fun one for me. Let's get after it right now, let's go.
Hey Men's Health, it's Frank Grillo. You may know me from the Marvel Universe or the Purge movie.
Wait a minute, one sec. Look at my boy, Frank. Yo, Frankie Grillo is the man. And we're Frankie, holy shit. This guy looks phenomenal. 55 years old, I'm trying to look like this. The brother version of this, but I don't look like this. At 55 years old, 100%, I don't really care. I don't look like that, period. Done. This video is done. Don't really care what he does. That looks freaking awesome. Dope. All right, keep going, my bad.
You may know me from the Marvel Universe or the Purge movies, my show Kingdom or Fight World, or maybe my movie that's out right now, Boss Level. Let me show you what I do to stay in shape, not only for movies, but in my life, my daily routine here at Fortune Boxing.
Yo, your boy is mad Italian. That is the epitome of a New York Italian. You're right, this is Frank Grillo here. You know, I'm gonna take you through a day in the life of what I do every day. All right, let's do this. All right, let's go.
A little shadow boxing, get the blood flowing, a little sweat going, loosen up my whole body. I don't do biceps, I don't do triceps. We do core, heavy exercises on the chest, squats, deadlifts, shoulders. But as far as the vanity muscles, it's not something, it actually is a hindrance to do biceps and triceps on the regular, the way a bodybuilder would.
Freaking, this guy is the man. Who needs bis and tries, you know, because we already got the flexion extension in this right here, right? The back like that, you know, when we get a little bit of this right there, you know. You know, hey, who needs the bis and tries when you ducking and dodging like this? You got that quick elbow extension right there. You didn't see that coming, eh? Who fucking needs vanity muscles? Who needs those guys when you could do one of these? Honestly, very, very true. Honestly, when it comes to, you know, and I've coached, a strength and conditioning coach for boxing, and you don't want to train bis and tries at all, to be honest, when you're boxing as much. It is a vanity muscle in a sense in terms of being functional. When you're throwing the jabs, straights, hooks, uppercuts, you don't want tight tension on those tendons so you can, you know, basically tear your bicep, right? So it's good that he has that, you know, it makes a lot of sense that why would I train those muscles when he's doing a lot of shadow boxing? Shadow boxing is a lot of elbow flexion and extension. You're basically throwing the punch out and throwing the punch in. If you're sitting like this all day long and just doing this and do whatever, you just do, you know, a lot of this is flexing your arm. Oh. So I've done my research with this guy before. I've watched a lot of his stuff, you know, especially his fight videos. They're freaking sweet. The guy is a legitimate trained athlete, which is so cool, which I like about him, and he's very functional. For those guys getting up there in age, or even the age you are right now, stuff like this is phenomenal for warming up. You know, shadow boxing is great for warming up, getting your heart rate up. It's good. You're moving around a lot. It keeps you more functional. That's fun. And I completely believe that he does something like this. Would I recommend doing that? For sure, if you know how to box. Because if you don't know how to box, shadow boxing is really weird. You know, you see those guys in the gym, they're punching stuff, and you know they've never been coached before, and they're just, yeah, don't be that guy. Do a form of warm-up that is more functional. It could be skipping, you know, jumping jacks, high knees, whatever, you know, just stuff like that. This is really good for an actual dynamic warm-up, I would say. I would take that more so than just like, you know, just starting your actual warm-up exercise. So doing this is a great way to warm up. So let's move on.
The way a bodybuilder would. And we're off to the races.
So after 20 minutes of working, 20 minutes of shadowboxing cardio, we're going to strength training. Now let's see how we actually, let's see how he trains. When you're getting up there, let's just say we have our 40 to 50-year-old audience that are watching right now, trying to get ideas how should I be training down the road, getting some ideas, whatever, summer's coming up, we want to be able to get out and run around and be functional. This is good stuff. Now, what are we doing for actual strength conditioning?
Finished with the warm-up, the stretching, shadow boxing. We move into a bit of strength and conditioning. So normally we would do a couple of warm-up sets and then 5 sets of our heavy exercise. In this case, it's shrugs. It could be chest, bench press, it could be legs, it could be deadlifts. That's the heavy exercise, the big muscle.
Okay, so I don't know if they're editing this and he does just one a day, because he's basically saying he does this on a day-to-day. If that is the case, yeah, I mean, it makes sense, because if he's doing a split, yeah, you break your muscle up. One day he does shadow boxing, he does his bench. Next day he's probably shadow boxing, he's doing legs. Next day he's probably shadow boxing and doing big back or whatever it is. Now, when it comes to this, the shrug part in the strength conditioning, I don't really know why that is in there. I don't think he does that much strength conditioning based on looking at his physique presently. He does a lot more conditioning stuff, building more strength and conditioning. I think he's just more maintaining and when it comes to, boxing, plyometric stuff and whatnot. But the shrug part, I don't really know. I wouldn't recommend doing shrugs to begin with. You want a lot of headaches and shoulder problems and all those issues. Shrugs are a no-go. You don't need to do it for anybody. And if you're just trying to build your physique, you do not need to do shrugs whatsoever. Your traps do about 20 degrees-ish of all your lateral movements. So a lot of the times you're using your upper traps and your mid traps in a lot of exercises. For, I gotta keep my boxing good. So when I'm like this, I can really get in there and really shrug my shoulders up, huh? Didn't see that coming, did you? You didn't see that coming. That's another bison tries in there, right? Well, anyway, so the tip here says, don't let your shoulders roll forward. And my man, Frank Grillo, is doing nothing but letting his shoulders roll forward. And the form on these shrugs are absolutely terrible to begin with. I'll cut him right up. It's not his fault. Here's the thing that we all kind of mix up. We think that because someone's a celebrity that they have the cream of the crop strength conditioning coaches, and that coach, because he's coaching a celebrity, has to know absolutely freaking everything and absolutely amazing what he does. No, wrong. Actually wrong. It could just be like you've been in the right place at the right time, or you know somebody, you got recommended, whatever, and now you're working with Frank Grillo. Because if I'm working with Frank Grillo, he's not doing shrugs as one of his main strength conditioning workouts. No, we're gonna do something that's gonna keep him functional in a compound movement. I would do something like goblet squats, goblet deadlifts. If I'm not sitting there really trying to have him deadlift all the time, with using a big bar, there's no really need for it at that point. We're doing more functional movements, right? We're doing a little more plyometric stuff. Strength conditioning workouts, like if I want to really work on my back, I'm going to do like a back movement. You know what I'm saying? So, or if I'm doing shoulders, if anything, my strength movement would be probably an overhead press, especially for someone like this. Overhead press, thrusters, dumbbell thrusters, overhead press, I would easily replace with shrugs. Anyway.
Now we're going to do side delt, right? So side, again, front, rear. You want to cover the whole thing. And again, in boxing and all sports, the shoulders, very important to make sure.
Yo, Frank Grillo wants to kick someone's ass. Frank Grillo's done so many fighting movies that the guy looks like he wants to kick someone's ass. He's ready to knock somebody out all the time. Yo, we want to hit the front delts, the side delts, the post, the rear delts. But boxing, we got to box. We doing all this all day long, right? So who cares about these side lateral movements? Boxing is gonna do it in the first place. You know what I mean? Frank Grillo wants to kick someone's ass.
Which was a very physical role. I needed to look like an action hero. We would box at 6 a.m. Every morning, and then I would come at night and we would do strength and conditioning. So it was a split routine. Probably trained 4 hours a day. And again, in your 50s, you think you should be slowing down. I probably got in the best shape of my life at 52 years old, which is the message I try to tell.
I don't get the cue there. Keep your elbows slightly in front of your shoulder. So if my elbow slightly in front of my shoulder, but no cue on where to have my, like, where do I put this part? You know what I'm saying? Like, I give tips and cues in my videos, and it's like, like make sure you're, pulling with your elbow. Make sure that your arms are parallel to the ground. Don't have your elbows or your wrists higher than, your shoulders. Make sure we are punching straight like this, and we can bring it out and have a nice straight arm. A little tilt, this, little external rotation. Like, the cues here are make sure your elbow stays in front of your arm, of your shoulder, is an absolutely terrible cue. Men's Health, figure it out, guys. Like, Men's Health can do so much better to make this such a better interview. Like, let's get into the nitty gritty of what Frank Grillo actually does, and listen to the actual, like, the most important information that we have. Not just like, let's put this together, make us little videos so people watching and try and do this. He works out in the morning, does boxing, comes at nighttime to strength and conditioning. That would be really cool to understand what he does for boxing and actually what he does for strength and conditioning. Instead of just like mushing it together, the tips aren't even right.
It's the message I try to tell people all the time. Much younger than me. It's there's no rules. So don't think as you get older you should get slower. You actually could increase the amount you work out.
I love that point. This is the biggest question I get all the time. I actually had someone hire me last week, and the question was, at a young age of, in their like, mid-30s, can I recomp my body at this age? And I'm like, yes, you can. Muscle gets, if people are like, muscle doesn't get old, our bodies age. Yes, they do. Our bodies do age. But if we get behind that age, we can always be ahead of the curve in how we keep our body when it comes to health and fitness. If we're not doing anything and wait till our 40s and 50s to actually start doing something, then of course it's so freaking hard. And it's like, there's no way I can do this. Because that's where that comes from. The whole mentality of, oh, I can't do this when I'm at a certain age, comes from people starting really, really late and being like, well, when I was younger, I could run all the time. But now that I'm 40 and I haven't ran since I was 15, oh man, I can't. No, muscle, it doesn't just age and get old. It's like having a nice Mustang, a 1976 whatever Mustang, and it sits in your garage until now. You can't just go in there, turn on, and expect it to run perfectly fine. The point is, we have to get in front of the curve. We have to make sure that we're already training and getting ourselves in shape, so that when we get to that age, we're not like surprised, oh, I can actually do this. Of course you can. Of course you can build muscle at that age. Of course you can recomp at any age. I have clients in their 60s. I have a client in their 60s that put 100 yards on her golf swing, and she's in her 60s. Runs faster, walks faster, stronger in the gym, stronger on the green. Everyone can. It's this thing that has to decide whether or not you want to put in the work to have that kind of lifestyle. When it comes to, can I do this at a certain age? Yes, you can. You just have to decide that you want to do it and that it's a priority in your life to stay in shape, in the best shape of your life for the rest of your life.
And you're using your own body weight. And the whole goal is speed, not a fatigue or an endurance exercise. Your goal is 10 reps. You don't do 10 the first time. As soon as you feel yourself start to slow down, you stop.
So what it gets to me is like, we're basically at like a day, and they're basically compilating a lot of what he does in one day, but then probably taking stories or like what he does on other days. So you're getting like a big muck up of what he actually does. So just to make things clear for you guys, obviously Frank Grillo is like, from what he does, being an actor, and his niche is a lot of fighting. He's an action hero. He's an action actor. He does a lot of, combat movies. He covers a lot of combat sports. So he's got to always be, that's how you want to be. When it comes to me, when it comes to this channel, for myself, I want to be able to perform all those things that I'm coaching and telling you guys. So when it comes to my training, bodybuilding-esque training for me might not be the best way to train. So for me, I have to evolve my training. Talking earlier before, I have to start to take my training, and it has to evolve into something that will benefit for me as a whole. Bodybuilding is a part of my life where I do a sport, but when it comes to coaching and training and being functional, there's a different type of training that has to be, implemented and combined with what I'm doing right now. So when it comes to evolving your training, you have to think to what your training should look like for what you're currently doing or trying to accomplish. So when it comes to him doing what he does, he trains in the morning, boxing, comes back into strength and conditioning, has to, because the guy actually does a lot of what he says here. I've watched him, look him up. He's an absolutely incredible fighter, trained fighter. So watch his stuff, but A guy like that is gonna always train. Can you do that stuff? Yes, you can. Is it necessary? No, it's not. You're not an actor. You're not at his level to actually do what he does. You can do half of this. You can do just as part of his portion of, having a good warm up, making sure you warm your body up thoroughly, moving around. Shadow boxing is good to do because your whole entire body is warming up. If you can't shadow box, skipping is really good thing to do. Kind of running on the spot, moving around is a good thing to do. Moving to warm up your body is a good thing to do once you're getting a little older because you need to keep your body moving. Anyway, guys, that's it. If you like the video, guys, make sure you like, subscribe, and share the video. I'm going to come out that tell like it is. Honest, transparent truth. For coaching, johnasheed.com. If you want to know what my coaching is all about, you can book a 15 or 30-minute consult. At the end of that consult, if you want to go with coaching, whether you want to do a full-time plan or just a one-time plan, I deduct the phone consult of any plan you pick. Guys, follow me on Instagram at _JohnAsheed_, and check out my gym at Impact Fitness 56. Anyway, guys, you know how it is. Iron sharpens iron. Progressive overload your life. In the meantime, keep G chasing. Peace.